Hello, sweets, and welcome to week 5 of distance learning. This is your week 5 rundown video, and as always, in this video, I will be going through the assignments one at a time and hopefully providing you a little bit of direction and clarification so that you can approach the assignments confidently. As always, if you still have questions that aren't answered in this video, I sincerely hope that you send me an email or come and see me during office hours so that I can help you through. Okay, you guys, week 5. Up to this point, all of our attention, all of our focus in the short stories that we have read, the bad guy, quote unquote, has been human. So we've been reading a lot about killers and murderers where the villain is a man or a woman, a person. Okay? For week 5, our attention is going to shift. And instead of on human characters that play the role of a villain, we are now going to start looking at creatures and monsters. So the stories we're reading from here on out, the conflict is probably not going to be man versus man. Most likely we'll be looking a lot at man versus supernatural. So we're going to be reading about these creatures, these monsters in these stories. Okay? Let's get started. So after the rundown video, you guys are going to start with The Elevator is a short story by a man named William Slater. Once you open it up, you will see that it is in this very familiar template. At this point, you guys should be pretty familiar with this. You have access to the audio up here. And the text you'll find is in this reader's guide sort of format with space for stop and jots. Really quickly, before I move on in the rundown video, many of you guys are doing very beautiful and very thorough, consistent stop and jot notes, and that's awesome. But I feel at this point it is important to mention to those of you who are skipping on the stop and jots, keep in mind, please, that the assignment is not to simply read, but to actually demonstrate your deep and critical thinking about the text versus simply reading. And you might be saying, well, Miss Elise, I'm at home. How can I demonstrate those skills to you? Well, you demonstrate those skills to me by annotating in the text, putting down your notes, your thoughts, and using the highlight tool to find passages that are worth noting. Okay, so you demonstrate your deep and critical thinking. You demonstrate your skills in analysis by making notes every time you find important characters or events, or making notes every time you have a question or you're questioning the text, by noticing patterns, making predictions, and then also hunting for clues or foreshadowing. Okay, the only way you can demonstrate those skills to me is by using this space here. If you don't stop and jot, I cannot see your deep and critical thinking processes. Okay, and as always, you have some discussion questions down towards the bottom. This one is only 4 pages long. It's pretty short compared to some of the stories we've read in the past. When you're finished with The Elevator, you're going to move on to Pickman's Model. Pickman's Model is written by a man named H.P. Lovecraft, and that should sound really familiar because we've actually learned about him in the past. And in case you don't recall, I've got a really quick clip from a video that we've watched already a few weeks back. So let's review.
Like any writer, King isn't shy to share his sources of inspiration, most notably writers like Richard Matheson of I Am Legend and Bram Stoker of the now classic Dracula. But perhaps the writer that most closely resembles his style is H.P. Lovecraft, one of the most influential writers of the horror genre. He single-handedly created a whole new subgenre that is now more commonly known as cosmic horror, in which unknown cosmic entities and phenomena beyond our understanding, often portrayed as ancient mythical monsters, became the subject of horror. But the monsters of Lovecraft were never really monsters. Instead, they were metaphors that symbolized Lovecraft's deep fear of the rapid technological and scientific advancements in the early 20th century. The helplessness he felt towards the changes around him reflected in the hopeless struggle of people against forces that are far beyond their control. Lovecraft believed that people's inability to truly understand their reality was the most merciful thing in the world, and that doing so would be enough to drive anyone to insanity. In many ways, this is the same kind of horror that King taps into.
Okay, we're going to stop there because I know you've already watched the video. But I really wanted to give you that context about this author. This author was an incredibly influential writer of his time, and he is even known as the person who created the genre of cosmic horror. And as you heard in the video, all of his stories involve these creatures from cosmic realms. So, like I said, because we're jumping into monsters, of course, we need to read H.P. Lovecraft. And so we are reading Pickman's Model. Really important, you guys. This story is actually really, really super long. And I did not want to assign the entire story altogether. And so what I did was I took the last maybe couple pages of the story and I put it together for you. So it's really important that you listen to the audio. In the audio, I give you a little bit of backstory that is not necessarily present in this story. So where we're reading, we pick up kind of towards the end of the story. And if you want to know what you've missed up to this point, definitely make sure to listen to the audio. So for this one, I recommend, even if you're somebody that doesn't usually like to listen to the audio, at the very least, I would listen to the audio so that you can get the backstory, so that once you start reading, you're not lost. Okay? And this one is only 2 pages long. That's it. 2 pages for this story. As always, I'm going to ask that you stop and jot and, of course, answer the discussion questions at the bottom. Okay? When you're done with Pickman's Model, you have another assignment. It's called PBS Monstrum. Okay? PBS Monstrum is a channel on PBS, the website. And it's all about creatures and monsters, and it's all about their origins and the significance of these creatures. Okay, so I have assigned you 2 that I want you to watch together. This one here is Frankenstein, and you're going to watch this one here also. Is called Tokalash. So watch these. They're relatively short. I think maybe about 4 or 6 minutes each. I want you to watch these. And then you're going to go to this clip here. You're going to go directly to the Monstrum website and pick a 3rd monster of your choice. So when you go to the Monstrum website, this is the home page. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll see episodes here. This is episodes all. And then just make sure you're using this arrow here. The arrow will show you all of the different monsters. So you can watch the Himalayan Yeti, or you can choose to learn about the origins of Hansel and Gretel. And every time you click this arrow here, you'll see more. So there's the Yule Cat, Mothman, Tokalash, which we're all watching together, the Wendigo, Banshees, Martians. So I want you to choose yourself a 3rd video to watch. And it can be whatever creature you want. But here's the thing, guys. You need to pay very, very close attention to the details in this video, because your last assignment, as always, is a Friday Flipgrid. And in this Friday Flipgrid, you are going to explain or teach us about the monster in the video that you chose to watch. So very, very important. Everyone is watching Frankenstein and everyone is watching Tokalash. In this Flipgrid, I don't want you to talk about those 2 creatures. Instead, you're going to choose a 3rd video. It could be any creature you want from that list. And your Flipgrid response will be you teaching us about that creature. Okay? I recommend that you take really thorough notes so that when you're recording your Flipgrid, you have something to reference. As always, if you guys have any questions, again, I hope that you send me an email so that I can help you through. Or, of course, you should be joining us during office hours. I'm really looking forward to this week. I think it's going to be a really fun week of instruction. And I'm looking forward to your Flipgrid responses. Let me know if you need anything, and good luck.